Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me, so that the words of my mouth that proceed from the meditation of my heart will be acceptable to you and to those who hear. Amen. I'm reading from the Gospel of Matthew, the 18th chapter, verses 1 through 4, from the Moffatt translation. At that hour, the disciples came and asked Jesus, "Who is the greatest in the realm of heaven?" So he called a child and set it among them and said, "I tell you truly, unless you turn and become like children, you will never get into the realm of heaven at all. Whoever humbles himself like this child, he is the greatest in the realm of heaven." It is interesting to me that these students, which is what the word disciple means, those that Jesus tutored, it is interesting to me that these students with whom he had spent so much time still had very little understanding of his concept of the realm of heaven. While mesmerized by him, as evidenced by their leaving their homes to follow him, much impaired their ability to understand carnal ideas. This is understandable because Jesus was dropping ideas on them that undercut all that they had been taught and lived. And this is important for us to understand. Jesus' message was a radical indictment of what existed in the structures, the institutions, and the traditions. The question who is or would be greatest in this new reality that Jesus kept talking about is logical in the traditional way of thinking about life and social hierarchy. Jesus needs them to think out of the box, for that is the only way the realm will be understood and come alive. Therefore, he does not initially answer the question horizontally or laterally, but puts the question in a larger, more comprehensive, holistic context. A brilliant teacher, he calls a child who is clearly in the vicinity. Note this, for we often think that children should be separated from adult company, that they should be seen only, but not participate in adult musings. Maybe Jesus was reminded of the time when, as a child, he became so engaged with religious leaders in the temple that he ignored the departing of his parents to their home. When they returned seeking him, they appeared perturbed. He responded that they should have known that he was in good hands, exploring what was his calling, how his life was to embody the intentions of the Creator God, the parent who sired him in spirit and in truth. Jesus proclaims that unless you, disciples, turn and become like children, unless you move in another direction, rotate in an altered ecological reality, you will never get into the realm of heaven. You can never be part of the future which the realm of heaven symbolizes. You will be entombed in the deadening past and present. What an indictment, judgment, and sentenced, forever barred. What is so special about children that we adults, who certainly have experienced life for a longer length of time, and should therefore be much wiser, what is about the child that we should surrender our managerial leadership and become like the child, become like children? Aren't we the ones who, out of our fullness, teach and mold the children in the ways they should go? What then do they have going that we should play second fiddle to them in the great orchestra of life? Don't we as adults have the responsibility to groom children into becoming responsible adults? They are supposed to become like us, the best of us, not the other way around, that we should become like them. But Jesus says, whoever humbles himself like this child, he is the greatest in the realm of heaven. Does Jesus mean innocence when he talks about humility? No. We cannot return to innocence if we ever were innocent. It's not about being meek and mild, nor a person of little or no self-esteem. No, that is not what he means by humility. But why the question, who is the greatest? Was it ego? Was it wanting to be rewarded by the one they cherish so much? I think humility has to do with not being arrogant about oneself, one's life, not trying to control it and the world. It's about leaning into life, trusting life, exploring life, not manipulating it and bottling it up, not containing it. AAA Insurance has a commercial that speaks about outsmarting life. You cannot outsmart life. You shouldn't even try. How can you outsmart God, the universe, the infinite? How can any temporal entity outsmart the eternal? I get so frustrated with this commercial that sometimes I feel like canceling my roadside insurance, but it does come in handy. Humility is about understanding our place in the universe, that we are not the masters of the world. For Jesus, in this case, humility means accepting and readily engaging in a larger context of living, of which we are both actor and subject. It means having the grace to participate not with arrogance or pride, but with feelings of superiority and completeness, but with an understanding of being an explorer, a seeker of life. Children live in the abundance of life rather than in the limitations imposed by adult compromises with life. Dr. Howard Thurman wrote about this connection with the larger context. He said, nightfall was special to my childhood, for the night was more than a companion. It was a presence, an articulate climate. There was something about the night that seemed to cover my spirit like a gentle blanket. The night had its own language. Sometimes the night seemed to have movement in it, as if it were a great ocean wave. Sometimes it was deadly still, no rhythm, no movement. At such times, I could hear the night think and feel the night feel. This comforted me, and I found myself wishing the night would hurry and come, for under its coverage, my mind would roam. I felt embraced, enveloped, held secure. In some fantastic way, the night belonged to me. The realm for Thurman unfolds intimacy with the unexplained but real. Intimacy with the phenomena rather than the rationalization of the phenomena. The rational rations the experience, incapable of conveying its fullness of impact. It cannot take in the whole, the realm of heaven. Therefore, in the words of Thurman, it must reduce the experience or the phenomena to manageable units, words, dogmas, creeds, Consequently, you have a concept such as personal greatness or individualism, which connotes a very limited notion, rather than the expansive reality of communal, universal, or cosmic interplay. The concept of one being the greatest in the realm of God is contradictory to the realm of God. Someone else would have to be the least. It would set up hierarchy. Narcissism is this end. Children may not be theologians. That is not necessarily their way. What is more important is that they accept the phenomena that grace their lives, that open their imaginations. Thurman's experience of allurement and love with the universe hints at what Jesus meant by becoming a child. We may not be as profound as Dr. Howard Thurman, yet we have all had experiences of unity and wonder with that which is beyond us, yet in us. You may remember a younger sibling playing house. The sibling pours imaginary tea into an imaginary teacup and gives it to a playmate, whether real or imaginary. And they have a great time enjoying each other's company, their playtime. The child can create an imaginary existence, an imaginary life, imaginary reality, and live within it while living in the present or real world. The child creates a totally different realm of living based upon values and dreams of the child and lives in that realm, knowing that that is not the present world. Yet it is a world of joy, of acceptance, a world that is natural, not contrived. Khalil Gibran says of children, "You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you, for life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday." The realm of heaven requires a paradigm shift that the disciples had not made, seeing and perceiving a world fundamentally different from the one in which we are currently enmeshed. This is what Jesus had been trying to convey in his radical ministry. The realm of heaven cannot be contained in our present structures. In our time, Dr. King said with great clarity that the beloved community cannot be achieved through our present system of capitalism, and that we must not deceive ourselves into thinking that this system will self-correct. It will not. Jesus must have been disappointed with his students. They still had not quite gotten the point of his life and message. Did they not recall the Beatitudes? Blessed are those who feel poor in spirit. The realm of heaven is theirs. Blessed are the humble, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of goodness. The realm of heaven is theirs. All of these are reversals of the status quo. Did they not understand the flip side of render unto Caesar what is Caesar's and unto God what is God's? Give to the state, the nation, only what belongs to the state, the nation, and give to God what is God's. In other words, don't give to the state what belongs to God. Your loyalty, your trust, security, your life and its fullness. Nor do people pour fresh wine into old wineskins. We are each a fresh expression of God, a unique expression of God unleashed in the world to say something new and fresh about God's presence in the world today, in the now. There has never been a you before, and there never will be another you. Did they not understand that Jesus was talking about a new way of being in the world? A new being in the world? A new world? New realm? Kingdom that could not thrive in the old structures and systems. Jesus realized that his message had not taken hold of the consciousness of the disciples. The idea had to become flesh. Looking at the child, they could understand more clearly that Jesus was focused on the future, creating a future vastly different from the now. The realm of heaven is a revolutionary community. The hounds of hell, as Thurman describes them, fear, deception, hatred, must be overthrown. New loyalty has to claim our allegiance. Jesus was not talking about progress within debilitating current structures, laws, mores, politics, economics, religion, or culture. His focus was on opening his disciples and others to a possible future. A future of creativity and therefore freedom. It is about believing in the unseen yet real, which is what children do, what we are called to do. He is declaring that we cannot build an ideal tomorrow on the false security of yesterday and today, as Victor Hugo warns us. He is opening his disciples to bringing the future into the present, declaring that security is not in tradition, but in trusting that which is beyond tradition, the cosmic energy and impulse. It is about loving the magic, the awe, the mystery of life. Dr. Thurman relates another story of the eternal holding him in its embrace. When the storms blew, the branches of the large oak tree in our backyard would snap and fall. But the topmost branches of the oak tree would sway, giving way just enough to save themselves from snapping loose. I needed the strength of the tree, and like it, I wanted to hold my ground. Eventually, I discovered that the oak tree and I had a unique relationship. I could sit my back against the trunk and feel the same peace that would come to me in my bed at night. I could reach down in the quiet places of my spirit, take out my bruises and joys, unfold them and talk about them. I could talk aloud to the oak tree and know that I was understood. It too was a part of my reality, like the woods, the night, the pounding surf, my earliest companions, giving me space. When the child creates her or his reality, she or he exemplifies creativity, something new from what existed. The child finds freedom, as we do, through imagining and creating. It's not that simple, however. We have to contend with enormous ensnaring institutions, systems, traditions, needs, and desires, and transcend them. Recorded in Matthew 18:6 are the words, "But whoever is a hindrance to one of these little ones who believe in me, better for him to have a great millstone hung around his neck and be sunk in the deep sea." Unless we are working against situations that deprive children of the opportunity to dream, create, live lives as children, lives of play, lives without starvation and abuse, lives without having to run for shelter from drive-bys and bombings, from separations from family at the border, we ourselves need to be extinguished. We should not even live. That's Jesus, not me. That's what Jesus said. Reverend James Lawson included in his powerful tribute to the late Congressman John Lewis these words: "We do not need bipartisan politics if we're going to celebrate the life of John Lewis. We need the Constitution to come alive. We hold these truths to be self-evident. We need the Congress and the President to work unfalteringly on behalf of every boy and every girl, so that every baby born on these shores will have access to the tree of life. That's the only way to honor John Robert Lewis. The only way." Thurman says that the birth of a child is life's most dramatic answer to death. Remember his words? "I could talk aloud to the oak tree and know that I was understood." What Thurman does not say, but is clear to me, is that the oak tree talked back to him. It spoke not in English nor any other human language, but in tree talk, universal utterance, cosmic communication. It said to the boy, "I've got your back."